Well, thank you everyone for coming and being here today, and thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to run for City Council at large and what that means for our city. So I'm just going to read you a little bit of my speech from when I had my announcements on a very, very, very cold day. But everybody was warm, and our hearts were warmed by the passion of my team and the people that came out and the support that I felt. So, I'm Janet Kennedy. I'm running for City Council at large because I believe a community can survive and prosper as a whole when we're all walking on even ground. I was so grateful for the support that people had given me that day, and I'm really excited about the journey. Right now, it's time we come together to make a difference and vote for change to secure a more inclusive city leadership on our City Council. I'm very excited. I have extensive experience professionally and as a community leader, and I will bring a unique perspective of life experiences that will fill a gap on the City Council. Policy decisions do not impact all of us the same, and I am passionate about including all voices of all Duluthians affected in these critical areas: health equity, social justice and human rights, community resiliency, and sustainability. And I'll stop there.
Thank you, Janet. Charlotte, oh gosh, she's still here. Libby, we'll just move on.
Oh, also, I'm the timekeeper, so when you have 30 seconds left, raise my hand. I should go quit that way.
So hi Janet. I'm Libby with Duluth for Clean Water. Thanks for being here. In your questionnaire, you talk about living in the St. Louis corridor for most of your life. What are some of your ideas for revitalizing West Duluth neighborhoods? And also, do you view the PolyMet proposal as a threat to some of these revitalization efforts?
I would say PolyMet is a very divisive issue. I've been learning a lot about it. I've been working with groups as far as the Kingsbury Bay restoration. I've been involved in listening about Spirit Mountain developments that we're doing. And so it is important that we consider how PolyMet will affect our water. And I know there's a health impact that's going to be done on Kingsbury Bay, and I've been involved in that. And so it's really important that we educate our community and we stay educated about that. I think it's really important that we listen to all stakeholders, including PolyMet, to get a clear understanding of how the effects will impact everyone. And then could you repeat the other part of the question?
Just if you have ideas about
Well, as living in West Duluth and reforming the SPENDA group, which is the Spirit Valley Neighborhood Development Association, we're looking at a new vision and a mission to incorporate both our environment and community developments, including parks, homes, and businesses. So, we're really working as a group and coming up with some unique ideas. But we also want to make sure we're talking about some of the things that have happened in the past, because history is a good way to learn about how we've affected our environment and our community and community building. And I really value older leaders, we'll say, that have been there, but also making sure we're bringing in new voices like myself.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Sorry, I wasn't watching.
All right, thank you. I'm Janet, Charlotte Gardner from Socialists of America. And this question is from one of our members, John Crum, excuse me. The median income for white households in Duluth was around $53,000 in 2015. In stark contrast, the median income for African Americans was around $13,000 and under $20,000 for Native Americans. What can the city of Duluth do to address this huge income disparity?
So the city of Duluth has a big impact on economic viability for families and individuals. I know when I was younger, I always worked for the city programs. I was scraping gum under desks one year at a school. I used to work for the Parks and Recs programs. They had a great program which was called the Vocational Exploration Program, where we actually went around to colleges of different businesses to learn about jobs And so one of the things the city can do is make sure we're investing in people and looking at some of those programs again. Did I answer? I could answer more.
I think you answered.
Thank you. Janet, Ashley?
Hi, Ashley from Feminist Action Collective. What do you think should be the relationship between the City of Duluth and the Duluth Public Schools? How can the city support students and families in the school system?
I really like the model that Myers-Wilkins has and building a complete community school. I know there's a proposal for Danville and Lincoln Park as we move forward. Working with the health and all policies, we're really looking at policies within the city and the school board and the county and how we can build better coalitions for supporting families and individuals. We really need to realize and take stock of what's happening with some of our students who aren't thriving in school and how we all here sitting here today have an impact on that, and policies matter. So I think the role is for everyone. It also is families as well, but we need to support families in the things that maybe they're lacking economically, socially, housing and things like that. That all has an effect on students.
Thank you, Mike. Mail from our vet.
Yes. So, Mike Mail from Our Revolution again. This is a question we've been asking to all the candidates so far. How would you define the term inclusive, and how will you strive to be inclusive throughout all steps of the process as a Duluth City Councilor?
That one's easy for me, but it's hard to put into words. And what comes to mind is, as an African American, the historical oppression. But see if I can get through this. For me, it's really about all voices, not just African American, Native American, but everybody sitting here, the majority and the minority. I know that we make better decisions when we're all at the table because we all have a different narrative, and that those narratives are important, especially when we're looking at disparities in communities that are minority communities. Investing in people, valuing people, and listening to everyone gives us greater decisions. One of the things that I always like to say is, even myself as an African American, doing a checkup from the neck up and not getting caught into the things that just involve me, because the things that involve me will affect you, and the things that involve you will affect me. So we just need to come together as a community and as humanity and realize that we're all in this together. We're only as strong as our weakest link.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you. So this question is about polymath from Joe Hagerman from DSA. Can you be more specific in responding to the claim by pro-polymath proponents that we should support open pit copper sulfide mining in the Lake Superior watershed in order to produce copper for the global markets? So to be honest with you, I can't be more specific to my answer. I've done some research and I've listened. I believe there's a lot more that can come out of this as far as being able to facilitate discussions. We have had mining in our history as an economic base, but we also have natural history that we need to support and protect for you and I today and for generations to come. I have 9 grandchildren, so it's important that we make decisions that are viable for both. We'll see. I say that as a question mark because there always seems to be a winner and a loser, but we need to be really, really careful on this. And so I would like more information. I would like an evidentiary hearing. I would like to hear, people might kind of say, Janet, haven't you heard enough? Not until all the answers are the questions are answered. I don't know if there's enough that we can learn. I would definitely seek folks who have been in a little bit closer to it than I have. I've been really working on health equity, and this is a health equity issue. But I always realize that right now for me, I only have a finite amount of time, and I'm going to rely on folks that are really close to the issue. As a city councilor, I will have to learn more, and as I move forward, I will learn more.
Thank you. JT Haynes, Public Policy.
This is a really sort of a follow-up to what you just said, because in your questionnaire you said you would support, and you just mentioned the evidentiary hearing. And that would be basically presenting views on both sides in a more neutral setting. Can you explain a little bit more about why and what value you would see in that process?
Well, all voices are valuable, even voices that don't necessarily agree with mine, or even many of you. We learn a lot by the discourse, and sometimes we can get caught into our own sort of narratives and what's important. And I've even, and many of you probably have talked to folks about an issue that you're passionate about and learned something that you didn't know before, which actually, changes the way that you can have a discussion about it, and maybe even changes the end-all decision. So it's very important to have discussions. I believe that we should all meet, talk, and find a way.
Okay, Jen and Ashley.
This is in regards to your response of a questionnaire to a reproductive health question. You mentioned health equity is important to you. Women's reproductive rights are under attack by Republicans. Are you pro-choice, and if so, how can the city help protect organizations like Planned Parenthood and the Women's Health Center?
I haven't heard that the city has been directly involved in those issues, but I know there's grassroots efforts, and that's one of the most powerful things that we can do as a community is have grassroots efforts in the things that we know are important. Women's health is one of the most important issues, and I'm not sure where it began that it's involved in politics. When I started thinking about the questions, I thought about men's health, right? Men have vasectomies, they have cancers, and when they go in, there's not like a question of whether it should or should not happen. And I'm a little dumbfounded at why we keep having this discussion. But I definitely would support it, and I could see a city role, but I would have to investigate that more. But definitely some grassroots, and I will be on board.
Mike?
This is in regard to the earned sick and safe time policy. Please be specific. What is the number of hours per month that you would define as a strong safe and sick time benefit for workers in Duluth?
So I've been at stakeholder meetings. I've heard a couple of numbers. I'm just gonna say, because I haven't been directly involved, I guess I've heard like there should be an earning between 10 and 20, but I could be wrong. Like I said, there are more folks. There's a task force that's taking care of this. As a city councilor, I definitely, if I would be tasked with helping that task force move forward, I definitely know the answer. But it's a little bit ambiguous for me since I'm not involved in that. Definitely, it is on the radar for health equity, and I could definitely get you the answer. Maybe you already know it.
So that will call that part. Moving on, Charlotte, DSA.
Thank you. All right, this question is from Laura B. Janet, and it's been asked to all of the candidates. Can you speak to inclusivity and your efforts to address concerns raised by the disability community, and emphasizing disability community, which is the largest minority group and it intersects across race, ethnicity, age, gender identity, class, and sexual orientation?
Thank you. So I worked as a physical therapy assistant for 20-some years, and I was the director of rehab. I've also spent time working with UDAC, and so I understand the community with disabilities, and that to be honest with you, I work in a lot of circles and organizations, and I don't hear enough about the community that has disabilities. And so I myself, like I said, we all need a checkup from the neck up. And so I will be, myself more aware of the inclusion of people with disabilities. But I get it and I understand it. And so making a space for that would be important for me. It's a social justice issue and a human rights issue. Doing some work with the human rights officer and met with the state human rights officer yesterday. And so those were some questions we were looking at and talking about. So I think we need to be more open to that and having the discussion as well as a group that needs to be more included in our decisions.
Thank you, Janet. Libby Ben from Clean Water.
A really big part of the state permitting process is the matter of financial assurance. Researchers who study mines across the country warn against permitting projects that require long-term water treatment because of the extremely difficult task of determining how much financial assurance is needed to protect taxpayers. So I guess the question is, do you feel there is a way to protect Minnesota taxpayers in the case of the Polymet proposal that could require centuries of active treatment, or how would you go about determining if that's possible?
That sounds like a money question. So we always have challenges when we're looking for resources as a city. So as a money question, we need to be really aware of some of the other services that we have to support for the safety of our community members. That is a question that I would have to get more answers on again. I'm just, like I had said, there's a lot of questions that I need to have answered as far as our natural resources, polymet, and mining. And so I would definitely look forward to having conversations about that.
Thank you, Jen Mashman.
Sexual assault is a pervasive problem in our community, specifically among our student population. What steps would you take as a counselor to address this? Groups like PABSA cannot combat this alone.
It's taken a little time. So, that's a good question. It's a good question. I could definitely see as an organizer and advocate working towards that, and that's what I'll bring to the seat as a city councilor. And so if there's issues of sexual assault, which I've had to endure in my lifetime as a youngster and as a young woman, there are a lot of things that me as a city councilor would have to look at. I get a little, yeah. So as a survivor of sexual assault, it's hard to talk about it. Those are things I don't share in my life. So these questions really bring up a lot of over feelings of passion and hurt. So I guess as a city councilor, I definitely would support that and look at how it affects people's lives. As you can see, how it affects mine even still, even though it was years ago that it happened. It's important that we support people in any way that we can. And as a city councilor, definitely.
All right, so this may or may not be our last question here, but to kind of wrap it all together, what do you see as up to the three most pressing issues facing the city of Duluth today?
Well, definitely health equity issues, and that can span across transportation, housing, open space, economic, even energy. Now, we've been working on that with the Planning Commission, and we just adopted wording that's going to help everybody thrive and survive. Definitely housing. We have housing stock that's older. We don't have enough housing for folks. We have people who have housing insecurity, and we have a lot of homelessness. And then looking at how our communities are resilient and sustainable. And that includes neighbors, neighborhoods, communities, our schools, and getting together and making sure that we're looking across our city and helping community groups such as Spenda or community groups like out in Gary, the Gary Rec Center, and how are we building our communities to be complete communities.
Okay, thank you, Janet. I think that is the last question. If you would like, please, 2 minutes to kind of wrap up for us.
I want to thank you all for allowing me to come here today. It's very exciting, and and somewhat nervous, but that's okay. That's part of it. That's how we all grow. I really value communities coming together as grassroots organizations and allowing myself and the other candidates to voice what our vision is. So I'm excited. I'll read a little bit more on my speech the other day, and that, I really believe it's time we come together to make a difference. It's time we invest in our most valuable resource, which is our human resource. It's time we dwell on possibilities, in the opportunities, and in the purpose together to be the change we want to see in Duluth. Thank you, and I hope you support me.
All right, everyone, thank you for coming. That concludes our program.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Gilbert.